Jonathan had everything money could buy, yet he felt emptier than ever, his mansion silent, and cold, his calendar packed with meetings and events, but his heart aching with loneliness ever since his wife had passed away and his son had moved across the world, barely speaking to him. He wandered through the city streets, one chilly evening seeking nothing in particular, until he noticed a small figure sitting on the worn steps of an abandoned building, clutching a ragged doll. The little girl looked older than eight, her braids messy and sweater thin, but her eyes sparkled with something unexpected, a mixture of sadness and courage. Jonathan felt an unusual pull as he approached, slowly unsure of what to say. She looked up and smiled shyly, but then in a voice that seemed far older than her years, she said, "You need a home, and I need a father." The words hit him like a lightning bolt, and he knelt down to her level, trying to process the innocence and honesty of her plea. He asked her where her parents were, and she whispered that her mother was gone and her father had never cared for her. She had been moving between shelters and streets, surviving on scraps and kindness, and yet she sat there calmly, as if she had accepted the harshness of the world. Jonathan felt a lump in his throat, realizing that in all his wealth and power, he had never experienced a need so pure and so simple. He could feel his heart soften as he imagined taking her home, giving her warmth and safety, and perhaps finding in her presence a way to heal his own aching loneliness. He offered her his hand, and she hesitated before taking it, and in that small touch he felt a connection deeper than anything money could buy. He walked with her to a nearby cafe, bought her hot chocolate, and listened intently as she spoke about her days on the streets, her dreams of a real family, and the tiny joys she found in small acts of kindness. Every word she said made him realize that life had given him a chance to rewrite not just his story, but hers too. He wondered if he was ready for such a responsibility, if he could be the father she longed for, and at the same time, give her the home she deserved. He watched her laugh at a small joke she made, and it was the first time in years he felt a warmth inside his chest that no boardroom victory could ever provide. He wanted to offer her everything, but knew it would take time, patience, and courage to build trust and love. He made a silent promise that he would try to be there for her in every way he could. As the night deepened and the city lights glowed softly around them, he asked her if she would like to come with him for just one night to a safe place to eat and sleep, and she nodded shyly with a glimmer of hope in her eyes that made his heart ache with longing. He realized that sometimes the smallest voices carried the strongest messages, and that her simple words, "You need a home, and I need a father," were powerful enough to shake the foundations of his carefully constructed life. And he knew from that moment that his life would never be the same. And now, I want to know from you, my viewers, where are you watching this video from? Let me see in the comments. Jonathan decided not to walk away from the little girl. He took her hand and led her to a nearby shelter where she could be safe for the night. He bought her warm food and listened as she shared stories of her struggles, her small victories, and the dreams she still held tightly in her heart. Every word made him realize how strong and brave she was despite her young age. He felt a deep responsibility growing inside him, a determination to protect her and give her the family she had always longed for. The next morning, he arranged a temporary home for her with a kind caregiver while he began the legal process to adopt her. The paperwork was daunting and the system slow, but every time he saw her smile or hug a stuffed toy she had named after him, he felt renewed purpose. Slowly, his mansion transformed from an empty, cold place into a warm, loving home filled with laughter. She painted on the walls, played in the halls, and even placed her ragged doll at the dining table, as if it too belonged to the family. He watched her run through the garden holding his hand, and he realized that life had given him the greatest gift, a chance to love and be loved in return. She never treated him like a billionaire. She only saw him as dad, a man who chose to stay, a man who listened and cared. And eventually, she learned who he really was. The news reporters calling him one of the richest men in the world, but she shrugged and said, "He is just my dad." Jonathan finally understood that wealth without love was meaningless, and that the little girl's trust and affection were more valuable than anything money could buy. Every night, as he tucked her in a bed, he would watch her sleep and feel a joy he had never known before. The walls of his mansion were filled with laughter, music, and warmth, and he found himself smiling at small things he never noticed before: a handwritten note on the fridge, a drawing left on the coffee table, a hug given freely without expectation. He realized that family was not built by money, or blood, but by love, by the choice to stay, by the commitment to care. And he felt gratitude for the small voice that had guided him from loneliness to purpose. And now, I want to ask you, my viewers, where are you watching this video from? Leave your city in the comments so I can see all the amazing places my story is reaching.